The Florida Keys can be a magical place. It's some of the most breathtaking views, crystal clear water, abundance of outdoor fishing, and just activities to do. But with all of that brings the negative side of things. So, not everything is perfect in the Florida Keys, but if you're thinking about buying that second home, moving to getting the vacation home in the Florida Keys, and you want to know the pros, the cons, the good, the bad, the ugly, well, that's what I'm discussing in this video. And we're getting after it right now. What's up, everybody? This is Jackson Wilkey with the Living in the Florida Keys team. If this is your first time to this channel, you want to learn everything about what it's like to boat, fish, live, sleep, play right here in the Florida Keys, well, make sure you tap that subscribe button and you click the little bell so you're notified every time we do a new video. We honestly get so many phone calls, emails, reach outs every single day from people moving, buying those second homes, vacation homes, relocating. We absolutely love it. So thinking about moving anywhere in the Florida Keys, make sure you give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. Days, nights, weekends, we got your back when buying that house in the Florida Keys. All right, so what I wanted to do is just kind of compile a list. I got a good list down here of pros, cons, because, some people are really weighing those options, and a lot of the questions keep getting brought up. So basically, I'm going to be bringing up some of the most frequently asked questions, talking about the pro and the con side of both of those. So the ones we talk about at the end are definitely some of the most talked about. So make sure you stay tuned to the end for that. So number one, we'll start off, and what I'm going to do is really just kind of talk about the pro and the con of everything. So kind of going back and forth. So ultimately, one of the biggest pros to living here in the Florida Keys or buying that house is the fishing, the water. And that goes without saying. But it really opens itself up to opportunities that you never knew existed. And it's insane to me. If you love the outdoors, you love fishing, it's just really a fisherman's paradise. But a lot of the people that are, vacationing, buying homes here, they're not all about just fishing every day. One of the cons to the fishing is sometimes the winds can get pretty nasty out there. And for a guy like me that gets seasick, it's not optimal. But there's so much backcountry fishing. There's so much shallow fishing where you can see the bottom. And the beautiful thing about the Keys is you have the north and the south side, so you can be in the ocean. If it gets too rocky, get up into the north, get into some of these bays where it'll be way smoother. But I kind of want to talk about the other aspect of this, which is, a lot of people are coming here and getting some of those, the triple pontoon boats and getting, a lot smaller boats because they just enjoy being able to go out every day from their house, drop it down in the canal, or maybe you want to be ocean front and you can just zip right out. So you have your opportunities. Not all of the Keys is getting a 35-foot boat with four 450s on the back and heading 20 miles out there or 50 miles out there. And obviously there's a lot of sailboating too. But that goes right into one of the cons is you've got to know where you're at in the Keys. So some people come down there, you have to do tons of research. This is what, Lee and Sunnie and the team really love talking to anybody moving here is, what is your goal, your lifestyle? And if it comes down to boating, then that can really dictate the key because some of the drafts out there, this is all stuff you'll learn. And some of you know it as active, and avid fishermen, but some of the drafts 2-3 feet, or less, and you can't get those bigger boats. So maybe it's a desired area that you want to be, but the draft isn't going to allow what you like to do. And especially with those sailboats, if that's your thing, you're going to have to find the right key. So also you got to understand, it's very tourist. So there's lots and lots of people out there fishing, but it's very quick and easy to kind of learn your sweet spots. With that being said, the fishing, obviously unbelievable to be able to catch your own dinner every night, lobsters. And even right now you have the tarpon run and you get big old hammerhead sharks coming in to check out that run. So there's really endless amounts of fishing. And it doesn't all have to be with a fishing rod either. Like I said, going down lobster, there's lots of spear fishing and that kind of stuff too. So that's definitely one of the biggest pros. And the con to that obviously is if that is your desired thing to do is boat and fish, Not all homes down here come with a slip. So you have to be mindful that if you're looking, you want to make sure you're either getting onto a canal or, obviously oceanfront. But that comes with, a cost. And so the costs are definitely rising, with the majority of the median home prices around the $750,000 to $800,000. That's going to get you into that entry level canal living. So if coming down here and boating is your absolute goal, you got to understand you're probably going to have to pay, a little bit more to get into that canal living or to get your own slip. So with that, we'll jump into the next one, and that is the blue water, the unmistakably blue water. I'll never forget coming and laying my eyes on, the Florida and the Florida Keys for the first time and just seeing it. It's almost indescribable. So for the majority of you, you've probably already been down this way. That's why you're searching it. But if you haven't, it's unbelievable. As you can see, some of the pictures behind me and some of our other videos, we showcase it. But it's really cool to know that a lot of the keys, especially like the Summerlin Key, you actually have through the canals all the currents going through there. So there's a bunch of culverts, and so that actual canal water right there, crystal clear. Dive right down in there and get your lobsters. So to have that crystal clear water, and the cool thing is, learning to live here a little bit longer, is that it's always changing. So you will have just the most unbelievable clear water. The next day, it's a little bit more like darker green, turquoise. You got some winds coming up. So it's really changing your picture. Even if you're looking at the same view every day, it can change the colors of the water. So yes, that can definitely be a con, having a house without a slip if you're going to be boating all the time. But I also wanted to talk about the pro. Most houses down here have a boat slip. Canals, if you're in the canals, you can have the lifts as well. If you're oceanfront, obviously you've got lifts right there. And that's one of the things. When you come down here, you're going to notice that the majority of the houses either live or right on the canal, or they are right out there oceanfront. So you'll be able to get really anywhere. Now that really is, again, going to dictate the style of boat you have. And so, a conversation with us of what your goals are with boating, fishing, any of that, we can start pinpointing down a couple, 3-4 areas that will be the ultimate lifestyle for that. So let's jump back over, the Florida Keys. It's beautiful, but you got to know that you're way down there in the southern tip, and just being anywhere basically in the south, there's hurricanes. And so, yes, you have to understand if you're in the Florida Keys, you could be right in the eye of a hurricane. Does it happen every day? No. In fact, 2017 when Irma came through, that was one of the ones that was, evacuated for. And the thing about hurricanes in the Florida Keys, you have to realize, is the Florida Keys are 100 miles long. So, it can go down the southern part, and, the northern Keys don't really even see it. Maybe they'll get a little bit of wind and rain, but not the entire Keys get affected. There's not one key that gets affected more than the others. But at the same time, the news really likes to portray that how bad things are sometimes. And so the majority of the time, 99% of the time, nobody's really evacuating unless it's going to be right in the eye of it. Like I said, Irma was a really bad one back in 17. That's one that some of the residents from, even Lee, been there since the 60s. It's the only time he's ever evacuated. So never, ever, ever want to downplay hurricanes. But at the same time, yes, you have to be willing to, live in these areas where hurricanes can come. And at least not hurricanes, but, there's going to be winds, tropical storms. And so preparing yourself for that. The scary part is, a lot of our clients and people reaching out, they're not living here full time. It's vacation home, second home. So you have to have those people that you rely on, which is a huge pro to the team. Here is we're the eyes, ears, and boots to the ground, especially Lee, Sunnie, year-round residents. They are often, and the entire team from Key Largo to Key West is keeping an eye on these places for people, getting the right people to watch their houses for them, get the window shutters. I mean, if you're leaving, you're probably setting the stuff up anyways, but it always happens to where people forget to turn the water off, forget to put the window shutters up, whatever that is. You need to know, hey, these hurricanes can come, these storms, and it can do some damage to the house. So that's also something, that can be a major con. But at the same time, if those things occur, that's something that the team is doing, going around driving each house of clients that isn't there and assessing damage and getting people. The quicker you get on it, the faster stuff is negated and fixed. So definitely a pro and a con to living in the Keys. So next up can be definitely a pro or a con, and you're gonna be like, how the hell is that a con? But it can be fresh seafood and lobster. Oh my gosh, it's absolutely amazing. I understand some people have seafood allergies. It's usually not the people that are coming down this way, but the one thing that will wreck you is that when you go back home to wherever, it's just not going to be the same. Having that stuff come straight out of your backyard, we like to call, or right out of the water, right out of the pond, there's just nothing better. And so going and eating seafood anywhere else is definitely not going to be as good. Love barbecuing, love doing all this stuff fresh. You know, you have amazing restaurants from north to south that really stretch all these. You have the ability to go get fresh seafood if you don't want to catch it or don't catch it. maybe need a little help fishing. You can go to any one of the fisheries, you know, and really load up on this stuff. But you got to understand, once you leave, it's just not as good. So one of the next things we'll talk about is actually, you know, a lot of people are coming for the winter, you know, months, and especially after school. Once school is done, they'll come. So, you know, the June, July, whatever. So once you come July, September, or August, September, you have to understand that that is the rain months of the Florida Keys. So the summer months here are actually the rainy days, and sometimes, like in September, you can average up to 6 to 8 inches of rain. A lot of it's in the mornings, you know, and what happens is the wind changes. You know, Lee's a lot more knowledgeable on this, but you're going to have, you know, northern and southern winds. And so in the summertime, it's really coming in from the north, hitting the hot air, whatever it does. But there's going to be quite a bit extra rain. And so, you know, coming here in the summer months thinking it's just going to be 80, 85 and sunny every day, you have to know it can catch people off guard that you're going to run into those rainy days. Now, I wouldn't say it's an absolute monsoon by any means. You know, a lot of it's in the morning and burns off. But, yeah, people get surprised that the rainy months are actually right in the dead of the summer. All right, so another pro that especially, you know, Sunnie was really talking to me about and enjoys, and the majority of the people that come down here is there is year-round planting. There has never been a recorded freeze in the Florida Keys. If you're looking for that cold weather, you're not going to like it here. Obviously, you're not, but year-round planting, that's a huge thing, and people are talking about it, raving about it. The one con to it, I'll get to here in a second, is the iguanas that aren't quite from the Florida Keys. You will see them in a lot of the Keys around here, and they are flower-eating fools. So they obviously go through, and they're tearing up a lot of those. So you won't see as many flowers in certain areas. Some of the neighborhoods and areas, if you are like, gotta have the flowers, gotta have the gorgeous landscaping, we know a couple secret spots where they got some lizard killers out there where they're taking care of them. And so you won't see them out in the yards and tearing up the planters. But you got to realize, you know, with that year-round planting, these iguanas have come in and they are eating that stuff up. But yes, the cool thing is the foliage, every single yard. Sometimes some of these, you know, like Big Pine Key, I mean, you can drive in there and you can just get almost lost with all of the nature and the beauty and the green and the trees. And so you can really plant some incredible trees and stuff all year round. And yes, year-round planting. So a huge pro. The iguanas, yes, they're cool looking, they're cute, but for the locals and the people around here, they're kind of a nuisance. So you can actually kill them year-round legally, 24/7. So that is an option as well. Or maybe you got a neighbor or somebody who likes to go out and shoot those guys for you. Next on the list is the snakes and the alligators. So obviously, you know, it can be a con if you don't like snakes, you don't like gators. But the big pro to this, something that actually I never knew, you know, a while back, was that there's really minimal. In fact, you rarely see any kind of gators around the Florida Keys. You always think of Florida, you know, inland Florida, from Miami up, and some of those areas, there's just alligators all over the roads and boa constrictors and stuff. It's not down in the Keys. Again, Big Pine actually has a lot more habitat for them, so you'll see them in there. They got the Blue Hole Lagoon, you know, that has some alligators in it, and obviously you'll see them from time to time, but it's really rare. And snakes, I mean, I'll even talk to locals. They're like, yeah, I rarely see them. And there's actually, you know, some rattlesnakes on the island as well, or on the island, on some of the Keys, but you know, they're really far and few between. So it's actually, I mean, yes, you're going to see some here and there, but not really as prevalent as you would imagine. And so it's really a pro and a con. If you can't stand them, don't ever want to see them, well, it could be a con. But just knowing that it's not near as bad as actual Florida itself is a huge win in my book, because I do not like those snakes one bit at all. Can't stand them, even big worms coming out scared me. So that was actually a really good thing for me. Another con out there is if you are coming with the family, you got to realize, there's not as many schools. So Marathon has a high school, Key West has a high school, Key Largo. So really north, central, and south. Obviously a lot of our clients reaching out, it's vacation, second home, so schools aren't a thing. But if it is, in relocation, you've really got to start understanding, you've got those three major high schools, and that Marathon High School is really, really nice. And they actually have a community college campus right there as well. So there is the schools. There'll be some elementaries or K-7, K-8 schools on some of the other keys, but yeah, the majority of it's going to be down Key West, Marathon, or up in Key Largo. So let's talk about another pro/con, the mosquitoes. So being down just surrounded by water, you would think it is just an absolute breeding ground for mosquitoes. And well, it can be, especially after a real good rain. That humidity starts picking up. You will see mosquitoes come out, but you can make quick phone calls and actually get the mosquito sprayed. And so this is something that the Keys did. Again, I was not aware of till, getting the second home and stuff down there, is they actually spray with planes. They come by and they drop and they spray for these mosquitoes. And I was shocked, floored at how minimal the mosquitoes were. In fact, living in Houston, Texas for a while, or living there, and my wife is absolutely just attacked by mosquitoes, just everywhere, just terrible. And she found out she's type O blood type. So we did a bunch of research, and for some reason skeeters love type O, and so she just gets hammered over there. But or even mainland Florida. But the Keys, she was like, man, there's just like no mosquitoes here. So one thing we found out early on is that they come by and they spray for these mosquitoes. So you will see a definite decrease in levels of mosquitoes. And again, if your yard, your house starts creeping up with a bunch of them, a phone call can be made to where they'll come out with the trucks and actually spray. So that was really a good thing, is to knock down with all the water and all the marsh and everything there, to have the mosquito levels down is really amazing. The one thing I want to talk about next is just the endless things to do. It's pretty apparent that water sports are just anything that you could imagine out here. But you have skydiving, you've got parasailing, you've got jet skiing, you've got all these different shops, restaurants, bars from key to key to key. There's incredible beaches, and the one cool thing that they've done from the Keys is all the old bridges. The 7 Mile, all these old bridges, they've really turned in and done a great job in the past few years making them accessible. Some of them you couldn't even get on anymore, and now they've gone back through and concreted over the top, restructured them, built them stronger, and they're great fishing piers. So really, it's 24/7 around the clock, just from north to south, endless things to do. And plus, you got the Sombrero Reef and some of these most iconic, especially up in Key Largo, scuba diving that you can find. It's just really remarkable to be able to see out, and it's a foot, 2 feet of water, it looks like anyways, crystal clear, and then all of a sudden it's just this line of jet blue, dark blue, and it drops off 100 feet right there, and there's going to be a beautiful reef, and you can go out there and scuba dive. So man, you just can't, there's just so much to do down there. And that's where I say, once you get there, just kind of talking to the neighbors, talking to the locals, and you'll start really getting a concept of what's out there. Then unmistakably you can go all the way down south to Key West, and it's like the party central, and it was weird before we even thought about getting a second home there. Everybody we talked to was like, oh my gosh, Key West. It was like where we did our, after we got married, we went over there. It was like the best time. Or yeah, we went and spent a week in Key West, and it's truly remarkable. It's just Duval Street, all that. You walk down there, there's really so many different things you can do. And obviously they have their beaches as well, but it's really everything and in between. If you're really looking for the nightlife and all that, you're really going to want to be, Key West. Other than that, it's more the outdoorswoman lifestyle. So another thing is airports. It can be a major con. There's not a lot of airports down, there. So you're going to have Key West, obviously, is a major one, which is starting to really expand from what it was. Lee told me a story back in the 60s, 70s when he'd come, and there was a dirt field across the street where you just parked your car there, and then you came back and grabbed your car. So it's definitely gotten better since then. Marathon actually has a private strip where you can pull right in there. They actually have 4 bays of electric parking for Teslas as well, but you can get right off there and drive right around. There's a neighborhood actually right behind that one. You damn near walk to your house, and there are some smaller strips, here and there for private aviation, but if you're going to be flying in commercially, I mean, you basically like Key West. And so that's, another thing that you reach out is, hey, how are you going to be getting here? Because if you're driving in from Miami, then there's a couple of keys to the north you're going to want to lock in on. If you're flying into Key West, there's a couple keys down there, but each one, down there or up to the north, they have completely different lifestyles. So you're going to want to reach out to us and the team and go, okay, this is where I'm going to be flying in. This is what I like to do. This is the style of boat I have. This is the style of fishing I want to do. This is the style of things snorkeling I want to do. And then we can help place you in the right spot. So just know, obviously, there's not, without private aviation, there's not a lot of, airports down in the Keys. So another con that I wanted to talk about is obviously, the job situation. Nobody's really moving down to the Keys to get that, career job. Obviously, if commercial fishing, that kind of thing is what you want to do, then yes, that's the place to be. But the jobs around here really are going to be service oriented. So basically, the hotels, the resorts, and all of the fisheries and fishing and scuba diving. So really coming down looking for that job. But you do see, obviously, Coast Guard, police, fire department, we'll see those type of people come down and move here. Again, lifestyle, getting you close to wherever you need to be is very pivotal. But if you're really coming down here to lock in that big time job, but obviously, we've seen it, especially with COVID and the way that things shook up there and being able to work from home. That's when we're getting the mass migration in. People can work from wherever, and so that's really truly amazing that people can do that. So now you've got to be able to lock it into where you're going to have one of the keys with, they got the hardwired internet, throughout. So it's getting a lot better, but there are certain keys that have better so that you can work from home. But yeah, that's going to be one thing you'll want to definitely, if you're moving here for a job, it's going to be service oriented. And last but not least, one of the biggest pros that I found to, living in the Keys, like I mentioned earlier on, I'm not a guy who can go out 20, 30 miles. In fact, I'm born and raised Northwest, so I'm used to lakes and rivers. And so to go way the hell out there, I tried it twice. I got sick as a dog. I promised myself I'd never do it again. And you'd think your whole Florida Key experience would be done. But like I mentioned before, it's not. With the pontoon, that's what we love, pontooning, having the triple pontoon, man, those things can go up 30, 40 miles an hour, if not more. You can pull, tubers and stuff, but you have such incredible areas to go fishing because that is what we love. Avid outdoorsmen, love fishing, hunting, all that stuff. And so it's really a mix for everybody. Anybody who wants to go way the hell out off coast can do it quickly. Anybody who wants to just stay in and I'm a big fly fisherman too. So, we can get out there and spot and stock fish and fly fish. So really, you don't have to be this big boat out deep sea fisherman to enjoy the Keys. It's for everybody. But once you get to the Keys, you got to find the right spot for you or else it won't be as enjoyable. So that's what we love doing. And that's the only way that we can help you to enjoy the Keys is you got to reach out. You got to give us a call. You got to shoot us a text, send us an email. Days, nights, weekends, we got your back when buying that house in the Florida Keys. And until the next video, guys, we'll catch you later.